And I'm live on Saturday. Saturday! See, I'm even doing Instagram lives on the weekend. Because that's how I roll. And that's how excited I am about our fundraiser. November 8th, tickets available now, allb.org/ripples. You can get your tickets now. So, give it a couple of minutes, because Instagram likes to tell me, hang on, we're telling more followers to join your video, and they don't. But, at least I can post this later and people can watch it on Facebook and other places. So, that is good. We can talk about, tomorrow I'm going to be heading to the Assistance League in Long Beach, and we're going to be doing a dress rehearsal of it's actually more of a tech rehearsal of our live event on November 8th. So that will be fun. Hopefully there'll be some live videos from the Assistance League and some live videos from me. And I see that Isaac joined. You just have to request Isaac to join the chat, and then I can add you. And then we will have a little chat. And Karis is here, who we need to set up our time to chat. I think maybe Friday. And thank you. My shirt is in honor of the fact that I'm going to be talking to an animator today, who I'm going to add right now. Let's see. I'm waiting for him. And then we will begin. But yes, I'm wearing my Donald Duck shirt. Hey, Isaac.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Trying to set up this. I think that does it.
Yeah.
There we go.
I was telling everyone I'm wearing my Donald Duck shirt in honor of talking to an animator today.
That's very cool shirt.
Thank you. So, for everyone who's watching, Isaac worked on the animation for A Pebble in the Pond. He did actually 2 of the sequences, which we'll talk about. And I'm excited to chat with him today and talk about the animation, talk about the film and the process and all of that. So I think we should start with Isaac. Just give them a little background on who you are, where you're at, your company, all that jazz, and then we'll start chatting other stuff.
Sure, thank you for inviting me. For me, it's a pleasure to be part of this project and of the movie and the whole movement you are doing right now to help the Assistance League. It's really, really cool to be part of it. Well, I am Isaac, I'm from Mexico, and I'm an animator. I studied filmmaking and graphic design, and I freelance mostly. I do editing, I do motion graphics too. I'm trying to move towards more character animation than infographics and commercial animation. And being part of this project helped me go in that direction, into a more cinematographic direction. So it was like very, very good luck that I found that Paul was looking for animators to help on his documentary, and I'm very glad to be selected as part of the animator team.
I had a good time working with you. One of the things that's fun that I've mentioned before is I had animators all around the world. There were some in the United States, of course, but then England, the Netherlands, who I spoke to earlier, and it's in my IGTV, Mexico. Like I love that it was an international feel, and that each sequence had its own style, but really connected through the film, because the script, is continuing to tell a story. But I love that each animation kind of presents each animator's own personal style within the story. So I found that fun as a director. It was a fun process for me. Where exactly are you in Mexico, or what area of Mexico?
I have lived in Mexico City and in Guadalajara, but I am right now living in Querétaro. And regarding the international team, it was a pleasure because I saw the movie very recently, the complete film, and you can tell different backgrounds from each animator. That you can tell their styles and their references kind of vary. And I don't know the exact story of each of them, but I can tell that each background helps diversify the project, and that was very cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun to see people how they kind of approached each part of the script, because all of the animators, for anyone who's watching, all the animators were given the whole script, and then they had a section they worked on to give context. And largely it's about Anne Banning, who's the woman who founded the Assistance League. But we get into other stuff as we go along. And so it was fun because I had obviously photos and different references to share with all of you to use. So there's some connection. Everything kind of looks the same, but then it's very much in the own style. And the other thing I love is that you did two sequences. You did the sequence 6, and then you also did the final sequence, sequence 8. And I loved that. That was a great experience. And I'm interested to hear what you thought, because you got to do two different, they look differently. Like, that was important to me that, when we first talked and we were talking about adding you for another animation sequence, I thought, well, as long as it looks different, because I want them to feel really unto themselves.
Yes, it was very also fulfilling for me to be able to try two different styles, like this is my first feature film project in which I am able to do a whole sequence by myself, because I have collaborated in a scene or two or something with visual effects. But this is the first film where I have in my hands, you gave me a lot of freedom, like you allowed me to propose a style and to propose the colors, the characters, and even the scenes, I was able to present a storyboard, you approved it, and it was very cool to be able to bring that to the project. So when you approached me for the second animated sequence, I was very excited because it was a chance to really try two different things, because the first one is very I don't want to say kiddie, but it's kind of, yes, a bit childish, it's like the characters are happy, they look very colorful. And the second one, I was trying to give a bit more serious approach.
There are actually Easter eggs, especially in your sequence. There's a lot of really cool Easter eggs that, if you know stuff about the Assistance League, stuff about me, stuff about Mexican art, I think it's really cool, because there's stuff that is hidden within, which I always love, because people can enjoy at this level, or they can enjoy at this level. And I think we've had conversations about that too, that sometimes people are just looking at it at a very surface level and they enjoy it, and that's great. But I also like to have stuff under the surface, so those people who want a little bit more depth, there's something for them too. And I would say the first sequence isn't, it does have a, the first sequence that you did does have a like, not elementary, a very like a basic bright colors, very like, in that way it is like a child. It's more playful, it's more almost like a cartoon for kids, like it has more of that vibe to it, which was very appropriate for that part of the film. But it was fun because you got to do kind of like the kid and then the like mature adult version of with the two.
Sure.
So let's talk a little bit about the process further for anyone who's watching this who wants to know about the animation side, because I also am going to share this video on Facebook and Facebook animation groups and stuff, and to your followers. What was the process like from your point of view, from like getting the script, having the conversations with me, developing the storyboards? Talk a little bit about that process for you as an animator.
From the beginning, it has been a very kind experience. You have always been very kind with the communication and very responsive. So there was a level of trust, like I presented you my work, and then you reacted like giving me the freedom to propose style, to propose characters. So I think there were certain sketches. I think I presented you with sketches of, I want the background to look this way, I want and to look like this. I would suggest, also it was very helpful that you were supplying pictures of reference from the Assistance League, from the members, even news from the newspaper, like special clippings from the newspaper, and all that fulfilled the vision. And I also investigated how did Los Angeles look at that time, what movies were being made.
It's funny, I was just saying to Karis, who's watching, that I love the process of you bringing stuff to the table, getting involved creatively, and us working together. For the most part, I never saw it as like, this is my vision and you have to do it exactly like this. I was very, like you said, sharing photos, giving direction and like what the overall arc is to feel like. And then I gave feedback, you know, to your work, but I loved that you could then go away, create stuff, think about things, start to bring things back, and I could go, yeah, that's great. Or, oh, what if we change this a little bit? And so it's more, in the end, I feel like it's a more powerful, each of the animated sequences are more powerful because they have little bits of you, little bits of me in kind of creating a stronger piece together, as opposed to if I just let you go off, or if I was like, this is how it should be exactly. I think it's a better, the collaboration, the process of collaborating, I think makes art stronger. That's my personal opinion, and I'm sure there are examples where it's not true. But for me, as a filmmaker especially, which we should also mention, you've done documentary films too in Spanish and in your you know, as a director, so you understand the whole, I think you see the whole vision of the film maybe better than others would, because you're not just working on your or you're not just an animator, you've also worked on being a director, and so you see that process.
Speaking about animation and about diversity, yes, I was mind blown by the work of all the animators involved in the animation, and I felt so pleased and so honored to be part of that team. And yes, as you mentioned, I love documentaries. It is again very lucky to find a project that involves both genres, you know, animation and documentaries, since I love both of them. Yes, I have done cultural documentaries more than anything, and I try to do exactly what you are doing with A Pebble in the Pond, to use animation as a tool to recreate things that maybe we don't have the footage, or maybe we don't have something to show. And I was very pleased to see your process and to see how Gareth worked also as an editor. And I also learned so much from not only from the animation I did, but by looking at how you produced and directed the project. I can take things to my own projects, and that's very fulfilling. So it's of course, when it's your project, I'm always very happy to be to respond to your command, you know.
No, I love that, and I appreciate you saying that. And we've worked together since, which we should also say, like A More Perfect Union, which is a political short that we did, which I love. I think your work is stunning on that, and people can see it on my YouTube if they're interested. You should go check that out, because Isaac did amazing animation, and Steve was our sound and did amazing music and sound. And I love the piece so much. I think it's so great. But as I had said with the animators previous in the week that we chatted with them, once you find people who are like-minded and that you work well together, the thing I love is that then you keep collaborating and you can keep doing things. And I know I can call you and be like, hey, I've got this idea, or, you know, I want to do this thing, which I do all the time to you too, you know, because I love creating and I love working together, and I love bringing even ideas that aren't completely solidified, but like, hey, what do you think of this? You know, we should also acknowledge the people who are commenting right now. I'm excited that you want to see the film, and that Karis just wrote, it's a fabulous piece in reference to A More Perfect Union, so evocative. And thank you to everyone who's watching right now. I appreciate it. So here's a question for you, Isaac. What were some of the challenges maybe as an animator in Mexico, dealing with somebody in Los Angeles? What were some of the challenges? What were some of the perks in that relationship, in that role?
Well, also I want to thank Caris and Brent Dukes for the comments in the comment section. I think it was mostly perks, you know. Like, I cannot think about any disadvantage. I was able to send you a sequence or a scene once it was already done, and I was able to work it as much as I could, so I had a feeling that this is done, this is ready to be seen. And I think that doesn't happen when you work with the person right beside you looking at your work.
That's true. I never thought about it that way, that you could go off and kind of create, and then send me something, which is actually the process. I think I would say I deal most of the people, whether it's the editor, Gareth, who I'm going to be chatting with on Monday, or if it's the composer, you're dealing, they kind of go off and do their thing and then bring it back. So, and I love that. I mean, there's times where I think as a director or producer, and you probably agree that you have to be a little bit more dialed in, especially at the end, if it's nuance and really specific things. But in general, I like to have the conversations, to share the references or the style references, and have the chat about it, and then let you do your thing in your process. Because that's the other thing, is as artists, we all have our own process. Some people, it's like they can come up with stuff. Some people need like quiet space and candles lit, and everyone is different, and I respect that process. So you then can go off and do what you need to do. Because for me, and this is the producer side of me, I want it to be great, so I'm going to make it as conducive as I can for each of the people working with me. And if I have to kind of like, I use the analogy in chatting with people, like you and I chat on Skype. Some people I talk to via text, some people I talk to in Facebook message, some people like emails. That's my job, is to go to where all of you are and talk in the ways and in the methods that is good for you. And that makes the whole piece stronger. If I can, go to each person and make it as conducive for them, then you're going to, I think, give a better product if I'm, working in your space as much as possible. So I like hearing that. And I think it's a fun, it's a fun part of the process. What would you say, which I think I already know the answer to this, but what would you say was the thing that you enjoyed the most working on this process? Like, what was, specifically A Pebble in the Pond, what did you enjoy about the work before you saw the film? What was the part that you enjoyed the most?
It's very hard to choose one specific thing, since we get in touch. I got the feeling that this had a lot of heart, like I love choosing my projects regarding how much I feel passionate about the project, about the theme, and also about how much it will change the world for better, or how much it will help someone or some community or something. And since you told me what this was about, I really got the feeling that this was people helping people, The heart of the project was to share love, to share people help, and to share goodness from people. So you immediately get like that, into that mood. You want to help, you want to be part of the helping of people. So that was really fulfilling. And I also love the fact that knowing that what I'm doing is going to serve to a bigger goal, that what I'm doing is going to, it's going to be part of a bigger narrative. So it's cool when you do your own project, and it's always your voice there. So that's cool, but it's also cool to be part of a whole project with other people also blending their vision. So I think those two things, the part of being the part of the project about helping people, and also the part about being a teammate.
If I spoke for everyone who's involved, I would say probably that thematically is very similar for everyone, because as I engaged everybody and brought them on board, I think I really sold the idea of creating something before I knew the title of the film, A Pebble in the Pond, that we're each going to be a part of something hopefully larger and that will create ripples. Because I see the title, to me, is such a great analogy for the Assistance League and for all charities or nonprofits. The idea of investing, planting a seed and waiting for it to grow, or throwing a pebble and the ripple that can permeate out and reach multiple people. So it's interesting you say that was one of the things that was something that you enjoyed, because I would say that's probably very similar for most of the people who worked on it, because they wanted to be a part of something greater, something larger, something that's meant to be positive. Because also we started this a couple years ago, and I feel like it was really about doing good, shining a light on people who are doing good through the Assistance League and people who long ago were doing good through the Assistance League. But then all of us kind of now we get to be a part of that good too, because we present it to the audience. So I do love the full circle and the positivity. And I guess that segues nicely into my next question, because I just find this interesting. I asked the ladies in the Netherlands what they thought about this, but how do you feel the attitude in Mexico is regarding volunteering or activism? And I know you can only generalize because you can't speak for everybody, but what would you answer? Do you think that's something that's valuable there, that should be more valuable?
No, I think people in Mexico are very warm people, you know. We love to help. I mean, people here love the being part of the solution and instead of being part of a problem. For example, we had this great earthquake like 3 years ago, and it was amazing and very moving how many people went out to help other people, you know, people in the buildings that fell off, and it was very notorious. I mean, I went out to the streets one day after the building because I had to, you know, clean my house from everything that fell. And going up to the streets, you saw a police officer, and here in Mexico, police officers, sometimes there are a lot of clash between people and policemen. But in that moment of urgency, any police officer, when the cars went by, they applauded, you know, and they were cheering for them too, because it was very hard for a lot of people, and we all tried to cheer for each other, for people who were helping, for people who were providing stuff, for people who even there was people helping, like Mexicans from USA sending provisions and sending help. And I think that here in Mexico there's always a will to help others who need help. The problem sometimes is that we don't really know, you know, that there's not the organization to understand where that help is needed, but there's always the will, I feel.
I love that. And actually, I'm going to read Karis's comment because she wrote, my mom lives in Mexico City, and that was exactly her experience. It's a beautiful and loving culture. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I think this is the point of Annas and A Pebble in the Pond, is nobody's going to be able to talk me out of this. I think that more people are good than bad. I think, bad things happen and sometimes out of the control of people. And then there are, of course, bad people, whatever, But I really, truly think that so much of it, and I've learned this from meeting you and working with you, meeting others who are of different walks of life and different places, different experiences, different ages, different everything. And, what the thing we all have in common is we want our families and our friends to be happy and safe. We want, our neighbors to be happy and safe. I really, truly believe in my heart of hearts that we are closer to each other than apart, and that it's really simple stuff. Like, we want to be loved, we want to know we're safe, we want to know the ones that we love are safe and happy, and it's not too complicated. So we get sometimes, I think, covered in other stuff. So that's why I asked the question, because I think it's important to have the conversation for Americans who are watching this, or for people who are not in Mexico, just to hear somebody who lives in Mexico, who knows, and how they would describe the culture and their people. Because I think that's going to have education and communication is how we will get better, how we will unify and be closer as people if we are having these conversations. And lastly, I think do good. Most people want good. Most people want to do good. And I think that's beautiful, and that we don't have to overthink it. That you wanted to work on the project, that I wanted to create the project, that all the people who I filmed wanted to be filmed. Like, that's all just a whole circle of awesomeness and good, and the ripples, which I'm going to always, tie in. But I think it's exciting. So last question. So we're having the fundraiser. I like to remind everybody, the fundraiser's on November 8th, Sunday. It's at 1 p.m. But again, keep in mind that if you are in a different time zone, like Isaac is 2 hours ahead of me, the live portion starts at 1. And if you can't watch that, there will be a recording available for a couple days. So if you get a ticket to the event, you can watch it live, which I encourage. But you will be able to access the film and all the live stuff as a recording later. So anyone who's in the UK or other places, you can see it no matter where. So I like to say that. But Isaac, what would you say to people? You've worked on the film, obviously, you've seen the film. What would you say to people why, besides it's a fundraiser and it's going to support the Long Beach Assistance League, why would you encourage people to watch the film?
It was a surprise for me well, I kind of got that surprise since I was working it, even before watching the movie, that we have some idealized idea of Hollywood and of Los Angeles and of people working on movies over there. And sure, we can listen to them giving money to certain charity or helping someone, and you get the idea that, well, they're doing that just for a stunt or something. But being part of the project, you understand there's really a willingness to a human instinct to be part of the part of a solution, right? I mean, you get that feeling from, like, we are very xenophobic nowadays. I mean, not as individuals, but as a society. We are kind of looking out for our own culture, our own identity, and sometimes we demonize other cultures or other ideas, other ways of thinking. And I think the movie in itself, like, it helps the audience empathize, you know, because you can see people from different backgrounds all coming together toward a single goal, and that's very moving. The fact that there is that human basic instinct of providing, like, it's, I think it's even greater than from taking. It's to provide, to help, to give. And the movie, I think it's you can see it in a lot of interviews, even in the history of the Assistance League. It's very present, that very moving feeling of humans giving humans and helping humans and just being there for one another. And that's, I think, something that I would recommend everyone seeing.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying it that way. And yes, I've been trying to tell people it's feel-good film. You know, it's like everyone's dealing in America. We have election and politics, you know, in other places. Everyone has COVID. There's always stuff to deal with. But one of the things I love about the film is it's a feel-good film. You know, there's real stories and real people, of course, and you know, there's tragedy and things that people have to overcome. But overall, I think the film leaves you with a warm feeling about humanity, about, you know, each other. And that was important to me because it isn't meant to bring you down. So I agree. If you're looking for something to just feel a little uplift, join us for our fundraiser. Plus, if you join us for the fundraiser, you're helping fund the Assistance League, and it's like the full circle of everybody benefiting. So again, I want to remind everyone, I'm doing these Instagram live chats. I have them scheduled till Thursdays so far, but I'm going to keep scheduling them. Tomorrow I'm chatting with Nicole, who helped film. She was one of the camera operators. And on Monday, I'm talking to Gareth, who's the editor of the film, which I'm excited about that chat too. And then again, tomorrow, keep in mind that I'll be doing live and Assistance League Long Beach. If you're not following them, go follow them, because they'll hopefully do some lives of our tech rehearsal for the event tomorrow. And then to wrap up, Isaac, is there any, share your links so that people can follow you and stuff. Give your links.
Isaac David Motion Artist, and that's the same for Facebook, for Instagram, and for Twitter. But I have my website, and I will really, also in YouTube. In YouTube, I am also like Isaac David Motion Artist, and I have my website is isaacdavid.com.mx, and I would love people taking a look at my website once in a while, because I will start sharing my process of animation and my process of creation, like the designing and stuff, and that I want people I want to share that with people.
Yeah, and actually, I forgot, you've done videos like that, which I enjoy. You've shown like kind of behind the scenes, not with this film, but with other projects. But maybe you and I should chat. Maybe you can do one now of a piece of the animation from this one, just to again promote the film, and then you can share some of your work with people. I've been very protective of everything because I don't want anyone to see anything until they watch the film. But it would be fun to have you do that. So we'll talk about that. And I'll make sure I tag you. I'm going to post this on Facebook. I'll also send it to you, and I'll tag you. Everyone can see you on Instagram here. But thank
Thank
you so much for taking the time today. Thank you for your work. Thank you for the attitude you bring to the world. I really appreciate it. And
It's my pleasure.
and it was fun. So we'll chat soon. Have a great rest of your Saturday.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.